For my fall 2014 Vision Tech project, learning basics of coding. My big goal, to learn the basics of coding. To accomplish my goal, I needed to get signed up with Lynda.com and begin taking classes from Lynda. But this actually turned out to be harder than it looks. It took quite a while to get my student account up and going, which set me back a little bit. But that did not stop me. Beginning this project, I knew it would be difficult learning a coding language. My only plan was to watch the videos and try to pretty much get the most out of them. As I did this, I learned that it helped me a lot to copy down what the teacher is doing in the video. It helped me to understand the concepts better. I am pretty happy with my end results of what I learned, and I'm hoping from the basic things I learned throughout my past 4 weeks, I'll be able to start learning coding languages such as Java. The main tool I used to help me achieve my goal was Lynda.com. When I first started, I wanted to go right into learning Java itself. I quickly realized that there were fundamentals that I needed to learn and did not know, so I had to readjust my plan. I readjusted it by, instead of learning the basics of Java, I just needed to learn the basics of programming itself, mainly C-based languages. So as you can see on the screen, I started watching the fundamentals of programming videos by Lynda, and I did learn the fundamentals. Lynda was the best resource for me to learn all this. When it comes to the project plan, I learned that it is very important to make sure you have a complete project plan and to follow it. One thing I had to change was that it takes way longer than I anticipated to get through a class. The class does show you how long all the videos are, but I would rewind videos and pause them to help learn the concepts better, and also to copy the coding down that the instructor was showing in the video. I had to readjust my plan. Like I said earlier, I wanted to start learning Java right away when I started this project, but I had to change my plan to just learning the fundamentals of programming. Through the 4 weeks, I learned that mastering the topics that were taught in the class Fundamentals of Programming was a huge first step and took most of my time.
Okay, you might be wondering, what is your project? And the answer to that question is, well, I really don't have a project because my project just involved learning the fundamentals of coding. So at Lynda.com, they used JavaScript to teach me the fundamentals of programming. And the first fundamental I'm going to teach you that is basic for pretty much all C-based programming languages is variables. I have a simple JavaScript file here prepared to show you what a variable is. So we have variable here and then name. Now what does all this mean here? var is meaning that it's a variable. Name, it's kind of confusing, but name is the name of the variable. This name here can be anything you want it, but you're going to want to name your variable something that's relevant to what your variable is or what you're asking for. So then we get a prompt. Prompt will mean that when we run our JavaScript file, it's going to pop up a message at us asking, what is your name? Then it will have a text field for me to enter text. And whatever text I enter will be the variable. Then down here, it says alert. Hello, and then plus my name. That means whatever this variable is, it's going to put it here. That's what it's going to be. So when I run my HTML file, which is linked to my JavaScript, it says, what is your name? So I can put in Seth. It says, hello Seth. What happened was I named my variable Seth, and then it plugged in my variable into the alert. Alright, the next fundamental of programming I'd like to teach you and show you that I learned through this project are functions. So go ahead and open my sample JavaScript file, and when I first open it and read it, it says function and then my function. Just like when you see var, it's meaning variable, the program reads var, knows that's a variable. Same with function, except it's not abbreviated or anything, it's just function means function. So then I have my function, which you could say is the name of the function. And then I have these 4 variables. A equals 5, B equals 10, C equals 20. And then D is A plus B plus C. So that means it's going to add A, B, and C. And that's going to be the value of D. And then right here we have an alert, which means it's going to pop up a message at us when we run this JavaScript file. And it's going to say the value of D is plus D, which it will give us whatever D is. And then also pay attention to how it has 5 of these my function things. That means it's going to run my function, which is this right here, 5 times. So pay attention to that. Run my HTML file. And sure enough, alert. The value of D is 35. That's 1 alert, 2 alert, 3, 4, and 5. If I didn't want so many alerts or to run the function that many times, I could delete some of these, like 3 of them, and it would only give me 2 alerts because it would only run the function twice. Alright, the next fundamental I'd like to teach you about are statements, and in particular, if statements. Let's go ahead and open our sample JavaScript file, and we have 2 variables right here at the beginning. Variable A is equal to 5, and variable B is equal to 10. You may notice that down here there's 2 equal signs, and right here there's 1 equal sign. What's the difference? One way you can think about it is A is 5 when there's 1 equal sign. B is 10. It is a command. That is how it is. Down here where there's 2 equal signs, you can more picture it as, is A equal to B? So that's one way you can think about it. Back to the statements. If A is less than B, then we're going to run our next code line. Alert. Yes, A is less than B. So it says alert, so that means it's going to pop up a message. Then after we hit OK, it's going to go right to the next line. It's going to ask, is A equal to B? Alert. Yes, A is equal to B. But it's only going to run this if this right here is true. So let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. So we have our alert. It says yes, A is less than B. But another alert doesn't come up. Why? Because A is not equal to B. Because A is 5 and B is 10, so they're not equal, so it did not run this. We'll continue a little more in statements, but this time we're going to learn about switch statements. So let's go ahead and open our sample JavaScript file, and we notice it says variable grade is premium. Let's move on. If our variable grade, and then we have these 3 equal signs. These 3 equal signs, one way to picture it is that it is strictly equal, so it has to be regular if it's going to be true or if it's going to work. So if the grade is regular, then it's going to alert us it's 315. If the grade is premium, then it's going to alert us 335. And if you notice, our grade, the variable, is premium, so it should alert us that's 335. And if grade is diesel, the alert is going to be 347. So let's go ahead and run this and see what we get. It's going to say it's 335. Because just like how we have it here, the grade is premium and it is 335. Now let's go ahead and switch our JavaScript to see what happens. So I have variable grade is premium. Well, let's change it to regular. So now how I have it ran, it's going to say if grade is regular, then it's going to let me that's 315. So let's go ahead and save this and run it. It's 315. Same works if we were to change it to diesel. Save it. It should alert us. It's going to go through and say, well, it's the variable grade isn't regular, the variable grade isn't premium, but the variable grade is diesel, so it's going to run this alert here. Sure enough, it says 347 for diesel.
All of these terms may seem very confusing to you. And you may be asking, what's the point? It takes a lot of practice, time, and learning to be able to successfully code in a language or even multiple languages. I am hoping to pursue the language of Java at the moment. As you can see on the screen, coding can be very complex. As a coder, you need to be able to read the code and understand it. But the nice thing to know is you don't have to remember every single kind of statement and variable and command and code out there. There are coding libraries that have every kind of command you need. You just need to know how to understand it and how everything works. Because the biggest successful moment I had in my project was learning what is the point of all these terms, and I learned that they are very well needed. The biggest thing I learned is that you're never going to learn something as fast as you want to, especially when it comes to programming. When I started, I thought I was going to get a good base in Java. It turned out that I needed just to get a good base in programming itself. I'm not disappointed in what I did or what the end results were. I think the things I learned will set me up with the goal of learning Java.